will be going there. Will it be Fnatic who are 1-0 up? Or will it be Cloud9, the North American champions? Can they make it through? They've got to pick up this win here. They've got to go 2 wins on the bounce. Fnatic in a comfortable position, and that, I feel, may make them play a little bit more cautiously.
I really wonder if Fnatic is going to let Cloud9 get one back here, because Fnatic is so close right now to moving into the top 4 teams in the world, whereas Cloud9, they're just getting started here at the World Championships. They just played their first game. They lose again, they're out already. This is not a game where Cloud9 has any margin for error, and I wonder, because of how freely Cloud9 has played all year, how they've just seemingly been carefree about all their games, and I think that's one of the big reasons they were so successful. I don't know if you can play like that in a situation like this. North America's last hope, you've heard them all talk about how much pressure they're putting themselves under to try and not let the North American fans down, and they have to win this one.
Well, Cloud9, can they play fast and loose, or will Fnatic put a crimp in their style? Of course, the flash was burned from Yellow Star early on last match. This time not going to happen. Ward coverage from Cloud9 getting on towards that red buff. You see Fnatic doing exactly the same thing, passing that ward though in that river. So Cloud9 are well aware of their position with that ward in the bush. Ooh. Looking at a stun card from Peke. Going to throw that one out and high and say, yep, I'm here. You're not going to come this way.
No, he's
walk the long way around.
Yeah, he's making him take the long way around right there. Peke already trying to assert his dominance. It's about sending a message early on in the mid lane.
We'll see whether they do. He went for boots at the start, actually.
He does that frequently on TF as well. It's generally for gold card threat when you're doing something like this, and what the heck does Sneaky have planned right now?
Is he going to try and piercing arrow steal this?
I don't think it reaches. I think he'd have to flash over.
Nope, it's not going to happen anyway. The smite was used, Lemonation, putting a bit of lashing on Soaz, but he will just head up towards the top. So we have a lane swap coming on here. 2v1s in both bottom and top. As well as this mid lane dominance pressure. Peke thinking again. But let's look at these lanes. Lemonation and Sneaky already pinning down Soaz, taking him very low on hit points at the very beginning than the level 1 exchanges.
Yeah, and High already trying to jump on Peke, so a bunch of early trading because of the wards that Cloud9 had placed in Fnatic's jungle. They knew the pathing of Cyanide, which allowed both of their mid lane and top lane AD carry and support to go aggressive early. I feel like that was a mistake of Soaz to be pushed up that far, knowing he was against 2 people. And now Meteos, knowing that Elise is down at the bottom, is going to just try, I believe, a 3v1 dive or a straight up turret push as soon as Soaz comes to the lane. They're actually targeting Soaz right now instead of Peke, or they're shut down.
It's a straight up fast push on the tower. We'll see how well it works out. We're only in that 3-minute mark, so that tower will be stronger, reinforced. Soaz, of course, just hanging around, not going to get too close and aggressive on this one. Meanwhile, down the bottom, they were actually zoning quite heavily on balls there, and you can see they're still doing it. So they're keeping him away from the experienced ball, still at level 1 as well as Soaz.
He might even be just going back to base. No, he's sticking around. Both of those solo lanes are in great danger right now. Soaz decided to go jungle and is effectively just giving the turret away to Cloud9. 3 minutes, 32 seconds, first turret of the game.
Yeah, who needs a patch on the turrets, eh? Not these guys, that's for sure. But it is going to be High going aggressive. Urgent Strike is available on Peke. You can see he's already used the Ignite. It's going to take him very low. High can get this one. First blood for High.
That is exactly what Cloud9 needs in this game. High making a play onto Peke. 1v1, mono-y-mono, finishing him off with Fizz. That's the reason it's dangerous to pick Twisted Fate into Fizz.
Cloud9 continuing to push on towards this inner turret, and they're going to get it down. There's no way Fnatic can react to this one. Soaz is just off the side, but he's got nothing. He's still at level 1. He's going to get caught out. Soaz in trouble, gets leashed. Piercing arrow comes across, forced across. He's got his passive available, and he should just about survive.
Yeah, and the backup had arrived for Fnatic. So Fnatic trades a turret back here, keeping the gold fairly even, but Soaz and Balls have both been heavily denied in this game. One of the reasons that Balls loves the Rumble pick so much is he doesn't care generally about how far behind he gets, because he is so confident in his ability to land equalizers that he'll just sit back. He can be 0-5 in a game and still come in for team fights.
Interesting, different style. Like Cloud9 keep trying to push up on towards that top, almost like the Chinese teams we've seen so far. Soaz was having to absorb the experience, does finally get level 2. Meanwhile, Balls, he realized he couldn't get the bottom. They were keeping him completely zoned out. He went to the middle, actually got feed a little bit of experience. Lemonation taking a lot of bursts from Peke, not going to get anything from it. Cloud9 stacking up very nicely at the moment in this mid lane.
Yeah, they were trying to orchestrate a 4v1 dive onto Peke, but Cyanide was there for the lane support. Despite the first blood Cloud9 sacrificed so much farm in order to get that the gold is actually even. So the 600, or actually it wasn't 600, it was only 400 gold they got for First Blood because they didn't get access to the assist pool since High 1v1'd him. And that's basically been made up by Fnatic's slightly superior farming in both the top lane and in the AD carry position.
Certainly made Peke respect High a little bit more. He's definitely staying a little bit further back. And the problem is, as I was about to say for Peke, that once High starts getting to level 5, 6, he's definitely going to out-duke Peke in that lane phase. There's no doubt about that.
And it means that Peke is going to have an issue finding the positions in the side lanes. High, especially when Fizz gets ahead of you, no longer gets denied farm, because oftentimes early on in games, High gets heavily denied in farm on Fizz because it's melee versus range, but as soon as Fizz pulls ahead, it's no longer an issue.
Yeah, we do see a bit of a switch in the lanes, and of course Cloud9 are going to move that 2v2 lane down towards the bottom there. Ball's up against Soaz, now meanwhile in that top lane, Soaz has a level experience advantage over him right now, and that trade seems to be going quite well towards Balls. In fact, that Flame Spitter doing work, but Soaz continuing to keep that gold flowing.
Really trying to live in the danger zone right there as Rumble, and High goes in as Cyanide is procking around the outside. He's in danger, getting locked up here.
Stun card there, but look at Cyanide. He'd repelled up, but wisely High had already managed to trickster away and get out of that range. Meanwhile, Meteos hasn't hit 6 yet, but he's very close to it. He's just off those raids, so he may have that paranoia available in a moment.
Yeah, there's a couple big farm differentials already developing in this game. You obviously have Meteos out-farming Cyanide as he does to every jungler because he puts such a heavy emphasis on clearing camps. But also, you see Pushu far ahead of Sneaky because Sneaky puts so much emphasis into turret diving. We really have to see whether Meteos' farm can transition Cloud9 this game because it did not in the first one.
There's a potential switch around. Where is Yellowstar going? Are we going to see two moving in towards that mid lane? Doesn't look like it, judging by Pushu's position, and so he's heading down. So it's simply Yellowstar trying to assist and help out some ward control around that river area. You can see he's heading up towards the blue buff, so potentially they're going to try and fight for the blue buff here. You can see Yellowstar's going to go around there. Peke desperately shoving that lane. Actually close in terms of farm. Sorcerer's Boots have been picked up by High, so he's got the edge over Peke so far.
Very interesting positioning here by Yellowstar, getting so many deep wards, and those were honestly quite dangerous wards for him to be going and placing. Sure, Peke could have helped support, but I mean, both AD carries are on the bottom of the map, and Cloud9, especially with Rumble, if he can ever hit level 6, would live for a fight in the jungle. But with all that being said, Meteos is trying to orchestrate a gank down the bottom lane, and this is a clean blue buff steal by Fnatic. And this being unexpected.
This is surely a clean gank as well on that bottom lane, but this could be the blue steal. Cyanide will take that away. Meteos is actually backing off. I thought he was going to go for a push. He was all on his own down the bottom there because of what Yellowstar's been doing.
Yeah.
And they're just unaware of his position.
Absolutely. High now trying to close in around, but this is not the people that Cloud9 wants. High's in a big bit of trouble right here.
He's going to repel through. Playful trickster away. Cocoon does land, as does the Grasping Roots. High takes a bit of damage. The Ignite also thrown on towards him from Yellowstar, but they will all back away from that one. Cloud9 could have took advantage of that situation in the bottom. Instead, they chose to defend out that top because they felt something was coming. And it's actually freed up Peke and Fnatic in this mid lane.
But at the moment, Fnatic is the one forcing rotations, and that is the position they are most comfortable in. Nocturne trying to counter.
Well, he does have that stun card, and Wisey doesn't use it. Waits for the shield. Cyanide gets hooked in there. Oh, repels just out of Earth there. Is he going to be able to get back down in time? No, he's not. That will be the kill. Lemonation picks that up. Meteor's taken very low here. They're going to continue. The Dominants try and counter towards him. He will back off. Stun card being pulled. Are they going to go for Lemonation? They will. Flashes out of it nicely to avoid the wildcards.
And if that locked him down, I think Pushu actually could have bursted him, even though he was so healthy. A smart flash there by Lemonation coming down, but now the lane pressure by Fnatic might try and take out this turret of Cloud9.
We do see Pushu's gone back towards the bottom. Look at that playful trickster bouncing on towards Yellowstar and Peke. You see the danger that Fizz can possess. And actually, it is Peke continuing to keep that farm rolling. He's keeping up with High despite that early kill that he managed to put on him ordinarily in that straight 1v1. Once you lose that first blood, you're in all sorts of trouble. Pushu getting a mountain of farm down that bottom because Cloud9 had shoved that wave on towards him, so Pushu's going to get that stretch and creep score against Sneaky.
And I think throughout this World Championships, Fnatic, more so than any other team, has showed their ability to bounce back in games, because there's been a couple games where they're down 2,000 gold, 3,000 gold laning phase, but then they always make plays.
Sneaky getting caught out. He's going to get stunned in. That's the Peke. Destiny, brilliant dark passage pulled out by Lemonation.
Just making it in range. Sneaky still has his Varus ultimate. as Cloud9 pushes up the mid lane as well.
Meteos gets locked up by the Cocoon, but he does escape successfully, and Fnatic hold onto that middle turret. This game is certainly heating up. Cloud9 creating plays as well as Fnatic.
There's some pink ward control in the Dragon area for Cloud9, but once again, as you said, Peke looking to split push the bottom lane. He used his Destiny to get Sneaky out of there, and he's just trying to farm up really away from Fizz and away from the main threats of Cloud9.
So we do see Pushu back in this mid lane. They've gone for that Phage, and of course, Sneaky going for that BF sword. Wants to get those big bursts of damage from that piercing arrow if they can land. Sheen been picked up by Peke. Meanwhile, High still got their Source Boots. Hasn't been back to buy that just yet. Is he going to go for the Lich Bane early on here?
Well, the last time I saw him play Fizz, he actually rushed the Zhonya's Hourglass because he loves being able to get off a second set of spells in team fights. And this is actually a sneaky rotation by Cloud9. They had the pink wards in the area, and this looks like a uncontested Dragon by Fnatic. Fnatic may not even get mid-turret pressure on this one, but they definitely have the top turret.
Balls is defending off, and he keeps Peke away. We do see Pusher going towards the top though, so they're going to get a big burst of chunk of damage down on towards his top turret. The rest of Fnatic are rotating up there, so they should be able to catch this one out. However, they've left the middle kind of exposed here. There is only Cyanide keeping Lemonation and Sneaky away from this turret.
Fnatic is actually hoping to catch Cloud9. Fnatic is actually hoping to catch Cloud9 defending that top turret, which is why they're out of position. And this time, Cloud9 guesses right instead of wrong and gets mid.
So it's going to be 4 members of Fnatic going towards the top, but 3 members of Cloud9 do take down that middle turret. Turret for turret, but more importantly, Dragon flowing in the direction of Cloud9. Will they continue to push though?
Yeah, this is a very dangerous time. Balls might get caught out. He flashes. Can Peke catch?
Stun card comes in, but is Peke taking the tower hits, and he may just defend this one off. Can he hold on? Pushy's taking too many tower hits. He's going to go down. No barrier comes out. Saves the day, but the rest of Cloud9 are collapsing on this one. Piercing arrow will come across. Pushy is back in already. He may be able to get off from this one. It seems that Fnatic have stole the march this time around.
Wow, that was an incredibly one-sided 4v1 dive. Balls nearly took down 2, but Fnatic does get the kill out of it. I don't know if that's worth it though. Meteos free pushing this bottom lane. Balls actually got a fair bit of farm with that equalizer because it cleared the whole minion wave as well. And High was farming in the middle. Even though Fnatic got a kill out of that exchange, I'd say Cloud9 came out on top.
Absolutely, fantastic play and fantastic equalizer from Balls. Getting Pushu pretty much nailed, nearly got him, forced the barrier out and all that farm. Meteos, meanwhile, he just needs a little bit of help, and here it comes. Cyanide in trouble. He can repel away from this one, but will it be too late? Peke comes in. He's going to have that stun card ready. Who's he can land it on? Not Meteos, that's for sure, because he had his spell shield ready and waiting to go. And Cloud9 back out.
At least Fnatic saved that turret. So for now, the outer 3 turrets remain 1/3 intact for Fnatic. They really need to keep those up as of now. High. Boy, he was actually too worried right there of Cyanide, but he goes in anyway. Not for much.
Stun guard at the right time, just about. That was a fast stun guard pull from Peke there.
Yeah, he's pretty good at Twisted Fate right there. It could have just been a double tap, and he's like, oh, nice. I got
that was handy.
Yeah, I've done that before.
We've all done that.
I feel like Peke might be a little better than me, though.
Right now, though, we do see Fnatic trailing 1,000 gold behind. Meteos picks up that red buff. Cloud9 stacking back around this mid. Fnatic are in defensive position, but of course that tower already down. Pushu heading towards the top, trying to get that Trinity Force complete. Gets that farm continuing to roll. And then in terms of farm, it is actually Fnatic just edging ahead slightly. But look at Meteos compared to Cyanide. There's a big differential there.
Yeah, and Meteos needs to make that differential felt in team fights. Preferably before Pushu can finish his Trinity Force, because we know what happened last game when Pushu finished his Trinity Force. And also another thing that's happened across both these games is Fnatic has put a bunch of attention to Cloud9's blue buff. And with High in the bottom lane, there's no way he can pick up that blue buff on Fizz. In fact, Cloud9 might just be taking it for themselves, so Fnatic can't steal it away, as Sneaky took the blue buff for himself on Varus.
Yeah, making sure they keep hold of that one. High's going to keep pushing this bottom lane. Fnatic, if they don't deal with him, they will lose that bottom turret, and I believe, judging by the positioning, it is going to happen. So Fnatic may indeed stack towards this middle. We do see Meteos and Sneaky sticking around in the mid lane at the moment, though, so they're going to keep Fnatic's 3-man push at bay. Peke is backing off. What's he going to buy? What's he going to pull out? It is just simply going to be ward coverage that he requires. That turret's going to take itself down.
Peke is going very defensive on Twisted Fate this game. As you said, he's not looking to fight. He's looking to split push this game. And it is a very different style that Fnatic has to play here. Even though they're still trying to catch Cloud9 in rotations, their catch potential and their ability to finish off a Cloud9 person while they're caught in a rotation is much lower. Zac is full tank. Twisted Fate is building defensively. That is nothing compared to the damage that Lysandra and Kassadin were putting out in the previous game. This is much more a comfort zone for Cloud9 than it is for Fnatic.
And the fact that High has just gone back and got himself that needlessly large rob tells me that Cloud9, they want to fight. They want to fight fast and early, it seems. And Fnatic, meanwhile, they don't want to be near this. They're going to back away once again.
Yeah, and you can see Fnatic's already in very defensive formations. They don't have split pushes going in any of their lanes. They've lost their outer 3 turrets, and they have effectively lost ward control over the Dragon area as well. Even though Cloud9 hasn't put down many pink wards, they're keeping Fnatic back just by having bodies in the way.
And you've talked about how important the Rumble, his equalizer, can be on that Dragon control. It could be a vital turning point in Fnatic. I'm not sure when this Dragon comes up in a minute whether they want to fight for it.
I don't know if, like, it's very tricky. Instead, they'd rather get a catch somewhere else, and they get high with the gold card.
They're going to catch on towards him. He's going to jump away. Good Earth's coming out there, but oh, the cocoon landing max range there from Cyanide locks him down. That may signal it. He's going to be back up in 30 seconds. Dragon's up in 50. He's got 20 seconds to run for the Dragon.
See, those are the types of fights that Fnatic wants to try and catch, because they can't win in a 5v5, but in a 5v1, they absolutely can, because they were just able to chase High down. If Cloud9 can't make counterplays to those types of attacks, they're going to try and do that every time Destiny is up for Peke.
We'll see which way Peke goes with his build. Whether he's going to rush out the Lich Bane. We do see Zhonya's Hourglass going to be coming out from High as that first item. Balls, meanwhile, with that haunting, guys. He's going to get himself some of that farm going. He's fell quite a long way behind Soaz in terms of farm. You can see it's a 30 CS difference.
And Balls really wants level 11, so one more level, and that equalizer is going to become substantially more threatening. They've managed to get High up. Actually, Pushu is off in the top lane right now farming, and this could effectively just be a Dragon for Cloud9. Fnatic is going to push mid in contrast to this.
They're going to try and rush this Dragon down. Fnatic, as you said, you can already see Peke's position and all of Fnatic's position going straight for that mid lane. Pushu with the Trinity Force completed, Bloodthirster completed for Sneaky.
This could be a Cloud9 fight as soon as possible. They might try to engage from the side, since Fnatic has exposed themselves.
They've got the turret. Can they get back in towards it? High's trying desperately to get close. It's going to be the Paranoid diving on towards Cyanide. Stranglethorns was used. It's going to bounce Meteos up. We can see Lemonation throwing down the box, but Meteos is taken so low. The Ignite's running. Hasn't yet found a kill. Pushu taken so low. Pushu goes down. Cyanide manages to get a kill as well. High's getting locked up, but there's not a lot of damage coming out from Fnatic right now. Gold Card ready. Catches on towards Balls. You can see Wildcard potentially going to follow. No. Gets flashed out of. Fnatic haven't got position. Gold Card's going to get pulled once again. It's Sneaky that gets focused. They're going to see the damage coming out from High is huge, but he doesn't manage to find a target. Ignite gets him down. It was a double kill for Soaz though. Big exchange between Fnatic and Cloud9, but it was overall a 2 for 2.
Wow. So just another crazy fight from this Fnatic versus Cloud9 series. Soaz, alright, he's okay. He's fine, he's Zac.
He's like, I got Cell Division. Lemonation may get him on towards him here. There's nobody else too close to him. There's a ward placement going down. Loses one of his flobbers, but instead he walks away.
I have to say, even though Cloud9 felt much more confident in that fight, I think the way in which they engaged made them have a bit of a disadvantage. You could see High waited around the outside of this fight for so long without actually jumping in, whereas Pushu was getting down his Gatling gun and his missiles onto many people. Once Cloud9 saw Pushu, they were able to go for him, but as far as the overall positioning of the fight, Pushu got off substantially more damage than Sneaky did. At the same time, Peke was never really focused, and then could chase down with gold cards and his movement speed that he got from his upgraded boots very early on. That is a very promising fight for Fnatic, since they effectively got engaged on 5v5, and as far as overall damage does, you look at that bar at the bottom, they did a lot more damage to Cloud9 than Fnatic did.
But look at this, Cloud9 heavily shoving their way in towards the enemy jungle, making sure they can get this red buff locked down, and Fnatic, I'm not sure they can deal with this one. Soaz is just off to the side, Cyanide is there, but that red buff has gone.
Yeah, and I mean, this is another one of these games. I almost feel like Fnatic is slowly pulling ahead for whatever reason, and a lot of that just has to do with the 80 carry farm right now. Pushu is 173 to Sneaky's 123, and in that last fight, Cloud9 didn't necessarily display an ability to kill Pushu immediately, and they almost have to. High's rushed to Zhonya's, which means he's a little safer going in, but if Meteos and High cannot deal with Pushu on their own, I feel like he's going to wreck the mid line of Cloud9 just with all the damage he's pumping out right now with his Trinity Force and the analyst desk disapproving of his Sorcerer Shoes.
Yeah, second blue buff in a row given across to Sneaky there as well, so they really want to keep those piercing arrows flowing, and Cloud9 stacking up towards his top lane. They've already taken that red buff away, starting to try and get ward control back in the jungle of Fnatic, but you do see Peke up there keeping them at bay, and Cloud9 react, they spin around to the mid lane.
And I do have to note that Peke has 600 gold from his loaded dice passive right now, so if it was a normal character, the gold would be actually up for a bit by Cloud9. They might engage right off a little bit of harass.
So as of course it could be a kill streak. He uses that let's bounce, but that's only to be to get away.
Where they go?
Where is Cyanide going to go? That's a fantastic equalizer coming out from Ball, straight on the mark, and that is going to be an easy double kill picked up by Cloud9.
And that was why Balls is so confident in these games, falling behind on Rumble, because he can destroy people with those equalizers. But at the same time, that took out the jungler and the support of Fnatic, the two weakest people. If that was a team fight in a more contestable, inescapable area, Fnatic may have been able to come out on top of that one because Pushu was effectively untouched. Now Fnatic was actually hoping to get a counterattack because they realized how strong they were. Cloud9 had just pulled back.
Using an ultimate to get vision, making sure Cloud9 are nowhere near it, and they will take themselves their own blue buff. High down the bottom, he's going to get himself a massive wave, but is it going to be too much?
That's a little greedy. Don't get that last one. You got to run, man.
You got to run. He's going to see a very aggressive Pushu, but he's gone too deep. Zonya's act, that's already been used, though. He's going to get bounced. Stretching strike was used. That's going to be the stun card. High's going to go down here, and Fnatic managed to get themselves a guerrilla warfare strike.
There's just not that much ward control from Cloud9 right now. You can see they're trying to get some of it back. There was a Boots of Mobility rush by Lemon Nation, which actually diminished the amount of early wards he was able to put down. And against Fnatic, you're really playing with fire when you're low on wards, because at one point, Fnatic actually wins a lot of their games because they force the enemy to overward since they're so good at controlling you with their rotations. So Cloud9 is actually kind of countering right now by actually underwarding and just hoping to outmaneuver Fnatic when they go for plays. That was just High getting burned by a little bit of extra farming.
So check it out once again as we approach the 23-minute mark. 500 gold between these two teams. Both got 3 towers down. Just the one dragon so far, I believe, that's gone towards Cloud9. Maybe 2, actually. Not too sure on my exact maths there. But the dragon will be up in 50 seconds regardless. And Fnatic, this time, may have positional control. You can see there's a couple of wards from Cloud9 just on the river, but nothing around the dragon. And sure enough, Fnatic pings straight on it. Soaz
is actually very strong right now on his Zac with a Spirit Visage and a Sunfire Cape. He's much too large for Sneaky to deal with by himself at the moment, and Cloud9 has definitely tried to control these games from the Dragon area, but Fnatic has controlled them by catching people out of position.
Let's bounce used from Soaz. He's going in. High's already used to jump McTaylor away. There's the Zonya's Hourglass. Great damage on towards Peke. Can he turn it back around? No! He can't get the Urchin Strike. This time Meteos can, but may well be the detriment of his own health. He's going to go down. Soaz finally gets dropped. Cell Division Bomb. Look at the damage coming out from Balls! Absolutely melt Fnatic down. Cyanide's going to try and save Soaz, but Cloud9 turned this fight on its head. Can they get the ace? They can just get the slide on towards him. Pizzico doesn't find his target. I feel Cyanide may have done just enough to escape this one. A 4-4-3.
And even though that fight was a crazy turnaround, it's still a close one. Check out Fnatic thinking they have this fight because they catch Sneaky and Lemon Nation a little bit. Meteos re-engages. Even though Peke was bursted down, that effectively felt like a 1-for-2 because Meteos was taken down as well. We have to cut away from that though because Cloud9 is trying to take the Dragon kill.
And they're going to get it. That's going to slide the gold. It's a 3,000 in their favor. That is a big, big turnaround for Cloud9 because they were the ones that got engaged on that hook from Lemonation on Soaz during Let's Bounce. Absolutely stopped him in his tracks. And Fnatic, they were a little overconfident going into that fight, I feel. Let's look at the items. Let's look what's going on between these teams because we're going to have a moment of respite here, I feel.
Maybe.
As I'm just looking at Pushu.
D-Man, game 1 broke around 25 minutes when Fnatic seemed to pull ahead. That was a 24 or 23-minute fight where Fnatic was trying to pull off a similar maneuver, but this time Cloud9 kind of had a counter for it. I really wonder if now Cloud9's going to take that fight to slingshot themselves ahead. Just taking a look at the items as well, you can see Meteos is a completed item ahead effectively. He's got the Locket of the Iron Solari, whereas Cyanide is just sitting on his Aegis of the Legion. They were able to finish off Pushu that fight and kind of eliminate his threat, whereas Sneaky's going with that Legolas full Archer outside build where he's just trying to poke with piercing arrows. And High hasn't hit his Lichbane yet. I think that would be a moment for Cloud9 to break if they can get there quickly enough.
I'm looking at that last fight. Soaz obviously goes in. He's going to be getting a Let's Bounce on. Didn't really get on too many people. But Pushu has Valkyried into that fight a couple of times now. He's going straight into Balls' Flame Spitter. He is absolutely melting Yellowstar and Pushu right now, as well as Peke. They're all really squishy targets. And he seems to be landing that equalizer perfectly on point.
Yep.
And they're just melting.
And he's gone with a slightly more defensive Rumble build. This is the magic penetration straight into a Rylai's and then a Negatron Cloak. The reason I love the Negatron Cloak instead of an armor item is because he's diving onto Corki, who, as we've mentioned before, actually does more magic damage than he does physical damage, especially if he's itemizing for those Sorcerer's Shoes. So immediately, Balls is trying to actually turn himself into a bulldozer that runs through Fnatic's teams and finishes off Pushu.
Well, Fnatic know that the blue buff is coming up soon, as to Cloud9. Look at this. You can see the defensive posture from both teams. Cloud9 being the aggressor, though. They're going to come in with that Oracle, clear out the wards.
Oh, Fnatic's waiting.
Fnatic already awaiting. His Lemination's going to be the focus. Stranglethorns goes down. High's going to get bounced in the air. Will they get the damage, though? Another fantastic equalizer. Melted Fnatic. Peke gets dropped. Cyanide in trouble. He's all over it. That's Pushu. He's going to get locked down. Valkyrie's out. Soaz goes back in there. Yellowstar taken down by Meteos on the backside. Pushu and Soaz having to back out of there. It's simply a 2-for-3 exchange once again. Chaotic fights.
Are we going to have a fight that actually goes all in one direction? It's always 3 for 2, 4 for 3, 2 for 1, 1 for 0. It's always close. That time, Fnatic tried to pull off their brush maneuver, but Cloud9 had the lead and were able to re-engage strongly. I'd say Meteos got a little bit lost in that fight, chasing away from his team, and it allowed Pushu to pick up 2 kills, which is extremely dangerous if you're Cloud9 right now.
So, let's take stock again. This could be an objective picked up here. Cloud9 on this. Oh, Pushu's going to get caught out. He doesn't want a beat of Meteos right now, but he has got ward coverage. He may continue pushing on towards him. He's got cover from the side of Sneaky and Balls, so he doesn't want to pursue too deeply into that unwarded jungle.
So right now, we can see by Peke's build that he is going for more of a split push threat. Twin Shadows and Lichbane, 2 movement speed items right now, as well as helping himself out with a little bit of magic resistance to stop High from diving on top of him. If we're looking at Cloud9's team in general right now, they're generally diving with magic damage. It's Sharks that are trying to keep people on top of Balls as equalizers, and I really do have to hand it to Cloud9 as far as team fights go, because so much of what makes Balls good at Rumble is his team's ability to keep people within his equalizer. We see a lot of Rumble struggle keeping with that, but they have Sneaky's Varus ultimate, the Shark from High, and only Fear from Meteos that are keeping people there. But even so, Fnatic is really struggling to get around that spell.
Well, as of yet, we haven't actually seen Peke. He's not been able to split push either. That's
no.
You know, got to give Cloud9 credit for that one. They've been keeping them fighting over those objectives. Dragon's going to be up in 2 minutes' time. You bet your life that's going to be the focus for both of these teams, as the goal differential is still only 3,500 in Cloud9's favor. 28 minutes gone in this game. We had a 33-minute game in match 1, which Fnatic, you can see, are 1-0 up. That snowballed heavily in their favor. Can Cloud9 do the same? Because these fights are slowly teetering on the edge towards Cloud9.
Yep, but the game definitely has not broken yet. Fnatic is always getting something back, which is preventing heavy pushes from Cloud9 coming out later. This is the Cloud9 mid-game dive that they like to do, but there's no turret there. So what are they going to actually be diving? At this point, they're just trying to take control back of the map. Maybe Cloud9 goes for a few more Dragons, maybe they go for a few more Barons, or maybe they try and actually catch Fnatic in a ward rotation as they threaten Baron. I'm really not sure, because this game is too close.
This game is very close. There's Pierce now, as you saw from Sneaky when he landed on Peke. It did a lot of damage. He hasn't got a great deal of hit points, and if he gets focused on, you see Pushu low, throwing out those rockets. He will keep them at bay here. Cloud9 seeing if they can siege it down. Fnatic thought about it. Elastic Slingshot being charged up by Soaz, but does get cancelled out.
And there's a monstrous wave in the bottom lane of Cloud9 right now that they would actually want to go down and farm, because that's a huge amount of gold that they'd be able to pick up. But Cloud9 is just so happy about having Fnatic contained to their base right now that they're sitting here for a little while longer.
And we'll see whether High keeps on pushing his top lane. See Peke going around to rotate up there. That tower's very low, and Cloud9, I think, have got positional advantage. Peke is going to come in, but I don't think he should be here. They're going to see, they're going to dive in. They're going to see Earth bounce up. Peke taking so low. He gets dropped before he gets a chance to survive. Let's bounce being used. High's going to get focused on. He's taken low. Tower already dropped. Soaz goes in. He gets himself a kill. Now they're on towards Lamination. Cyanide focusing on there. Balls is going to come in. Again, equalizer. This time doesn't find his target. however, Cell Division will be back up. Minios does manage to turn the fear back towards him. Cell Division used in there. Cyanide and Yellowstar trying to keep them at bay, trying to keep them away. Pushu's backed off already. He's going to come around. That's going to be another kill. And it is another 2-for-1 exchange again going in favor of Cloud9.
So slowly but surely, Cloud9 is winning fight after fight, and they've now moved their gold lead to 5,000. They caught Peke that time, trying to make a rotation towards defending that turret. Hai definitely manned up and went for the kill. He's really just trading his life for Peke's life over and over again. He's 2-5 on Fizz. Even through the exhaust, they were able to burst him down, but then you can see Sneaky had to finish off the turret for the safety of this dive, and Balls was trying to zone out the rest of the Fnatic team. If Balls had actually pinned Pushu with that equalizer, it could have been a much better fight for Fnatic, and they maybe could have taken the inhibitor. But because they didn't, Fnatic's on the counterattack.
Uh-oh, Peke goes in, uses that Destiny, finds Lamination. He's going to go down. That will be Peke picking up the kill there, and this may open up the Dragon. Pushu's already starting to head out there. I don't think Cloud9 can fight it. It was a big gold lead for Cloud9, let's not forget. So this is not going to put Fnatic in it just yet.
It was still amazing timing there for Fnatic to make a move down there. Peke still had his ultimate up because he got caught in the first fight and was then able to use it to catch Lemon Nation. You could tell that Cloud9 was trying to use Dragon as an objective to extend their lead. That's why Lemon Nation was down there ahead of his team. He just didn't expect Fnatic to so aggressively pursue that objective since Fnatic had slowly lost so many previous team fights for that one. Again, Fnatic just having that element of surprise and unpredictability that catches Lemon Nation off guard.
Catching Cloud9 out. Whew. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment. Let's have a look at this game. Let's see what is developing. The AD carries are becoming monsters. Sneaky, you can see. Bloodthirster, Last Whisper. He actually built up that Zeal quite a while ago, but he switched to a BF sword now. So once the bit feels he needs a little bit more damage on that piercing arrow. It's already doing big chunks off Peke when it lands. Pushu in the meanwhile, you can see that Infinity Edge now completed, along with the Trinity Force and Last Whisper he's had a while.
Yeah, right now Pushu is a lot stronger than Sneaky, only because he has completed items, but I think as those carries approach max items, if this game goes for a much longer, Sneaky would then actually have an edge on him, but as of now, definitely not. I like the fact that Hai has completed his Lich Bane. We saw how much he can burst down before, but like, it's too crazy. It's 15-13, and the game still hasn't broken. Every time Fnatic looks out, there is a danger for Cloud9 to pounce on them with Nocturne and a Fizz ult. But then every time Cloud9 peels away or even thinks about splitting up, Peke is just picking them off with his Destiny. Even though Peke is not picking up kills, he has 11 of the 13 kills that Fnatic has been involved in, which is the highest participation on the team. This is so strong for both teams right now, and I usually don't say that.
Peke runs back, gets himself a Seeker's Arm Guard, realizing that piercing arrow is doing a little bit too much damage to him, and he could easily get melted by Sneaky a little bit too quick. And again, walks in, nearly catches it straight back on. The High getting a little bit too close to that tower. Cocoon lands on him. A good burst of damage. So has thought about continuing on that one. You see the elastic slingshot didn't quite find his target. And Fnatic beat them out of their turret.
Cloud9 needs a new plan for this, because they have not gotten a smidgen of damage onto that middle turret. And High took half of his health for nearly no reward. Either Cloud9 needs to just split push and try and catch Fnatic in another rotation between turrets, or Cloud9 needs to start warding up the Baron pit and starving Fnatic out as they try and check. That mid lane siege is not going to work against Twisted Fate and Corki.
Fnatic not getting in position quick enough to defend this inner turret. They are 3 members down there, but they gain that piercing arrow. It's rattling through and doing the work it needs to, but that minion wave is getting kept off, so as with the elastic slingshot gets hooked in. Whoa! But they've gone a little deep. What a fantastic kill there though. Straight away, Pushu down. That's a massive damage dealer for Fnatic. They've got to back out of this fight, and you can see Hai, he wants to go in. Urgent strike on towards Cyno. He's going to go down, the dot ticking away, and that is another 2 kills. 3 kills, count that, for Cloud9 and an objective. They could push on towards the inhibitor here.
And the game may have just broken wide open, D-Man. This is the first decisive victory Cloud9 has had in a fight. There's still 3 people dead on Fnatic, and because the game is late, those death timers are still over 30 seconds. TF and Zyra will try desperately to hold this off, but Cloud9 wants the inhibitor.
Chain of Corruption coming out, but it doesn't find its target. They're still very low, remember. You can see those wildcards coming through. I having to dodge out of that one. He is going to take the inhibitor down, though, so Cloud9 have broken the siege.
This is very cautious right now for Cloud9, though. Peke is going to try and stop this recall as long as possible because he knows Fnatic is coming up and they could rush the Baron, right? So if Cloud9 doesn't recall together, the wildcards are going to keep them slow. See, they're going to keep chasing this one. Cloud9 needs to try and make this escape The rest of Fnatic, though, is going to run towards Baron. This is testy.
Oh, so Cloud9 are backing off. They're going to all base. Have Fnatic going to get in there quick enough? You can see there's a giant wave on the bottom wave pushing on towards that inner turret. They're not going to worry about that, though. Although they are. Cloud9 all go towards it.
They actually forced everyone on Cloud9 to build home guard boots with that maneuver. So that Peke play just cost Fnatic, or Cloud9, thousands of gold, and they're still going for it. If they corner themselves here, the game could be over. Cloud9 has their ultimates up. They're going!
Equalizer goes in. Peke flashes away from it. They're going to see getting hooked in there. That's a great lash straight away coming out from Lemonation. Pushu gets drilled down. Cyanide in trouble. Fnatic are dropping like flies, and Cloud9 can just turn onto Baron themselves. High's pursuing on towards Peke. He's not going to let him escape here, but it's the Baron going to Cloud9 that will turn the fight on his head.
And I feel like that was the last-ditch effort for Fnatic, trying to desperation Baron, but Cloud9 saw exactly what was coming. They made it back in time, and the fact that all 5 people on their team purchased home guard boots gave them the seconds that were required to stop that Baron. There are still 2 people dead on Fnatic, and Baron buff on 5 for Cloud9. This turret seems indefensible.
So Cloud9 pushing in. Have they turned this game on its head? Have they done enough? 33 minutes, game 1 that Fnatic picked up. 36 minutes now, Cloud9 seemingly charging through the base of Fnatic. Have they done enough to take this game to all square in the series?
You can hear the Cloud9 chants now coming out from this heavily North American crowd. And based on those last sequence of events, it's going to take a whole lot for Fnatic to come back in this game. They needed Peke to get strong in order to split push. Fnatic was staying alive mainly by catching individuals off for Cloud9. But now that there are 2 inhibitors down for Fnatic, Cloud9 doesn't need to worry about maintaining presence in 2 out of the 3 lanes. Every single person on Cloud9 can go back and shop and push down that 3rd inhibitor, and Fnatic is effectively forced to defend that with 4 people, because Fnatic actually needs 1 person full time to defend the 2 waves of super minions.
Dragon spawns, and Cloud9 are ready and waiting. That Baron buff on them has already taken down an inhibitor. The top wave being pushed out by Fnatic, but it is Cloud9 that are in the driving seat right now. Fnatic trying to keep those super minions at bay, but everything is being taken away from them. Dragon goes, Blue goes. It's only a matter of time before Cloud9 come knocking on the front door.
Yeah, and they have many cloaks as well. Lemon Nation has done well with
That's
his
a lot of
objective
cloaks.
goal. He's got a couple Megatron cloaks in there, totaling 186 magic resist right now. He's going to be wanting diving in with the rest of the team, and this is a full magic damage Fnatic team. This is Lemon Nation just calling it out and being like, I don't need armor. I'm a tanky support right now.
I'm a tanky support. And that's simply like all he needs. But Sneaky's piercing arrows have been on point. Every single time the fights start for Fnatic, they're about half hit points. Peke or Pushu already getting targeted every single time. So they're going into the fight at 3/4 health.
And all it takes is one of High's sharks, and they spam down onto that target. Because Meteos will go in with Fizz, their dive buddies, the equalizer comes down on top of it, and that person is dead. It starts the fight 4v5. Cloud9 has some of the best team fight coordination in the world, and that's the reason they were 30-3 in the North American LCS. Round 2!
High comes around the side there, they're going to dive on towards Peke. He's just going to get dropped where he stands. Equalizer comes down, Pushu trying to put as much work as he can in, but he just can't fight down Cloud9. He's putting the rockets out, but it doesn't matter. The rest of his team have dropped like flies. It's going to be the 3rd inhibitor of the game going to Cloud9. Cloud9 will close this game out surely. There's nothing Fnatic can do. We're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. North America strikes back.
Another clean team fight for Cloud9, and absolutely they struck back with a vengeance. Both of these games, D-Man, were incredibly close, and I can't wait for game 3.
Cloud9 take victory against Fnatic.